Hey everyone, and welcome back to Rank and File Sports. I'm Jonah, and this is my co-host Connor. Please make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future content. And with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at these results from the wild card of the NFL playoffs. And we'll start it off over here on the left-hand side with the Texans and Chargers. This one went completely the opposite of how I thought it was going to go. Like I said, I'm a Texans fan, and we played so bad the last half of the season. I didn't think we were going to win this game. But hey, I'm very happy that I was wrong. It was a great performance. Terrible performance from Justin Herbert, four interceptions. The Texans just overall they played pretty well. CJ's going to have another really big game if the Texans are going to beat the Chiefs. But I have a little bit of hope, just a little bit, but it's there.
Yeah, this was a very interesting game. I know we were talking while you were watching the game. Chargers went down, kicked a field goal on their opening drive, and then one play later, the Texans fumbled and gave the Chargers excellent field position. And we were both like, yeah, this is probably over. We were right. The Chargers are going to cruise to a win. Four interceptions later, and the Texans are moving on to the divisional round to face the Chiefs. Um, the way I've kind of been thinking about it in my head is that Jim Harbaugh pulled a Ryan Day and moved away from the game plan that had worked for so long for the majority of the season. J.K. Dobbins had 9 rushes for 26 yards, and he was their leading rusher. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. And that's a credit to the Texans' defense. And that forced Justin Herbert into situations where he was going to have to throw the ball more often, force some things. And it didn't work out. And he ended up throwing 4 picks in that game, which was more than he had thrown all season. I think he had 3 interceptions going into this game and then
Yep.
basically doubled it in one game. Um, so yeah, I was very surprised that this Texans team, after you said had played kind of sloppy down the stretch of the season, were able to beat a Chargers team that we both had beating the Chiefs in the next round. So I'm excited to see if they can keep this momentum going and take on the Chiefs and give them a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, I'll kind of group these two together. Ravens and Bills, they both took care of business, did exactly what we thought they were going to. Um, Same kind of thing. Steelers and Broncos, they both had great seasons. Just tough matchups in the first round. Never really expected either of these teams to win. The Broncos went down and got that first touchdown, and for a second, it felt like they might have a little bit of hope, and the Bills just ran away with it and shut them down completely after that. And for the Ravens and Steelers, the Ravens just they ran away with this one in the first half,
Quite
and
literally.
yeah, the Steelers never got within 14.
Um, yeah, both these teams, they're led by the 1 and 2 MVP favorites for this season and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Um, no one expected these games to really be that competitive, like you said. Maybe the Steelers game just because that's a division rivalry. But yeah, these teams both knew that they just had to take care of business and set up a date against each other the next round, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I think we said this in the last NFL video, but it's almost criminal that this is a divisional round matchup because this is going to
Absolutely.
be an incredible game. We'll go ahead and move on to the NFC, though. We'll start it off with the Rams and the Vikings. This was the first game where we had different picks. I liked the Rams in this one. Not even the home team because they were playing in Arizona, but they've been hot to end the season, and they were the last team to beat the Vikings. That's why I went with the Rams. It turned out to be not even that great of a game. This one wasn't close. The Vikings played just like they did in the last week of the season against the Lions, and the Rams are the ones moving on.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that during the regular season, Sam Darnold looked so good for the Vikings and that the defense was playing lights out for the majority of the year. I thought they were going to be able to compete with the Rams, even though the Rams have been one of the hotter teams throughout the season. especially down this last stretch. Um, Boy, was I wrong. Sam Darnold's, I mean, it's the thing I saw. All the money that he was expected to make this offseason after the season he had just went out the door after this one game. He played kind of abysmally and pretty much single-handedly lost the Vikings this game with his fumble that resulted in a fumble recovery for a touchdown for the rookie Jared Verse for the Rams, also an interception. I had a lot more faith in this Vikings team and they let me down.
Yeah, overall, this was one of the games that I was expecting to be really close, and it just didn't end up being the case. Another one of those really close games, though, was the Buccaneers and the Commanders. This by far was my favorite game to watch in the first round. Absolutely incredible matchup. It was back and forth the whole way. And how about that field goal at the end? I heard
Crazy.
that doink and I thought this game was going to overtime, and man, just barely snuck into the uprights. Uh,
It's crazy.
yeah, I mean, he put his helmet on like 20 times walking out there to kick it. Just everything felt like he was going to miss, and he missed as close as he could have, but still got it through the uprights. Commanders move on. Just, it was really a great game. Great game by Jaden Daniels. He gets to move on to the divisional round. Unfortunately, it's a date with the Lions. We'll go ahead and talk about that game in a minute, but that's going to be a really tough one for him.
Yeah, this was a game between two likable quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield's revived his career in Tampa Bay and has become one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. And then Jaden Daniels, in his rookie year, has led the Commanders to a phenomenal season. I think this is his like third or fourth straight game leading a game-winning drive. Um, so he's already turning into a leader in that Commanders locker room. It sucks to see either of those guys lose this game because they care about their team and the game so much. But at the end of the day, Jaden Daniels is able to come out on top and beat Baker Mayfield. But yeah, they got a uphill battle against the Lions.
Yeah. And we'll go ahead and move on to that last game where we did disagree on. I had the Packers winning. Like I said at the time, that was a very, very good chance it was going to turn out to be a terrible pick. And it, in fact, was a terrible pick. I thought the Packers might have a chance in that one. Maybe they'd bounce back from that loss to the Bears at the end of the season. Just wasn't the case. I mean, Jordan Love threw three interceptions and no touchdowns. The Eagles really just they controlled this one early on, and the Packers, even though they got within six in the fourth quarter, it never really felt like they had a chance. And this Eagles team, they look pretty solid. Jalen Hurts struggled throwing the football a little bit, but it's going to be extremely difficult for the Rams to contain Saquon Barkley in the divisional round.
Yeah, I think going forward, the Eagles' defense is going to be the reason they're going to be winning a lot of these games. Obviously, Jalen Hurts has been in this situation before, and I'm not discrediting anything that he's done. I think he's still a great quarterback, but starting to hit some low lights in the past couple games where offense, at least from a passing standpoint, is not as good as it we've seen it in the past. But Saquon Barkley is kind of all the offense you need. I think will be a dangerous Eagles team throughout the rest of the playoffs. We could see them competing for a Super Bowl, but we'll let you know in a little bit.
Yeah. With that being said, we'll go ahead and move on to our predictions for the divisional round. And, we'll start it off with the Ravens and Bills. And I've got the spread pulled up here. This one's got Baltimore favored by one now, actually. Last I had seen, the Bills were home favorites. This game, I mean, it really is a pick 'em. This is such a tough game to predict. And like you said earlier, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, both MVP candidates. Um, it's so hard to decide between these two teams, but I just have a good feeling about the Ravens this year. I do think that they're going to move on to the conference championship.
I'm in
And
agreement with
then,
you on that.
yeah,
Um, Especially like it's going to be in Buffalo. It's going to be cold. I think it's saying right now, even though it's a little further out. It's saying that the game time temp is going to be 16 degrees. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be snowing or anything, but if it were to turn into a snow game, I think the Ravens type of offense is going to be more successful in that just because they run the ball so much. James Cook is a very good running back for the Bills, and Josh Allen is also a very good running quarterback, but Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are just a little bit better than both of them. If it does come down to a ground assault kind of a game, I think the Ravens will come out on top.
Next up is going to be the Texans and the Chiefs. And, this one, it's really tough. I had the Chargers winning in the first round. I doubted my own team. I had the Chargers beating the Chiefs. And I'm really torn on this one now because I have a feeling that the Chiefs are going to win, but I can't doubt my own team twice. I think CJ Stroud has a great game, and it's going to be much better than the game that was in Kansas City back in, what was it, week 14 or 15. I think the Texans get it done just barely in the end. Really great game. I am going to go with the Texans as a road upset there, though.
Yeah, I this is a toss up too because I counted out the Texans against the Chargers and I had the Chargers beating the Chiefs, same as Jonah. But I just think the home field advantage for the Chiefs is going to be the difference. I think that despite having a lackluster season, they're still what? They still have only two losses on the season. I do think they're gonna win. I don't think it'll be by the current spread, which is at 8.5. I think it'll be a little bit closer than that, but I do think the Chiefs will come out on top. I think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have been in the situation so much over the past couple seasons, and I do think that the slumps that the Texans had going into the playoffs is going to catch up to them after their win against the Chargers.
Next up is the Commanders and the Lions. This one I do think is going to be a really good game. The Lions are favored by 9.5. Kind of like the Texans and Chiefs. I think the Commanders have a shot to keep this one close. Jaden Daniels is going to have to play the game of his career if he wants to win. I don't think that's quite going to happen. So I am going to take the Lions here. But don't be surprised if the Commanders can keep this one within around, I'd say 4 to 7 points. I also expect it to be pretty high scoring, both really great offenses, but I just trust the Lions more based on what they've been able to do over the course of the season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to pick the Lions for this one too. I think it's going to be even a little bit closer than what you just said. I think it might even come down to a game-winning field goal for the Lions. I don't know if that's crazy to say, but I think that Jaden Daniels is going to put this team on his back even more so than he's done for a good majority of the season. I think it's going to come down to a last-second field goal for the Lions at home. It's going to be kind of shocking. It's going to be a great game at Ford Field, but I do think the Lions will squeak out a win against the Commanders.
Yeah, definitely going to be really close in that one. I could see it coming down to a last minute field goal, like you said. And now the Rams and the Eagles. This one is probably the toughest game for me to pick out of these four, and I really don't know what to do here. The Rams, they've been on a hot streak. The Eagles haven't been playing great that much recently, and I doubted the Eagles in the first round. I'm really torn here, but I want to trust Saquon Barkley. Just how well he's been playing this season. I feel like he's able to get the Eagles to the NFC Championship. Obviously, Jalen Hurts plays a little bit better than he did against the Packers. They're going to have a lot more passing yards against the Rams. So I think the offense just overall performs better. But really, Saquon's the difference maker here. And another pretty close game, another one within 7 points for sure, but I do like the Eagles to beat the Rams at home.
Yeah, like you said, this is a tough game to pick. I've been going back and forth between whether I'm going to pick the Eagles because Saquon Barkley has been so dominant all season long. But after picking the Vikings to go to the conference championship after beating the Rams and then the Rams kind of embarrassing the Vikings, I'm sticking with the hot hand. I'm picking the Rams to win this game. I'm picking the Rams to upset the Eagles in Philly. I think it will be a close game. I think right now the spread's around 6.5. It's about a touchdown difference. I think that's probably what it's going to end up being, but I think it will be in favor of the Rams. I think Matthew Stafford is going to have a great game. I think, I don't know, is this game after the Lions Commanders game?
I'd
No,
have
the
to
line
check on that one. I know the Ravens and Bills is the last one of the divisional round, and I believe Texans Chiefs is first. So
the Lions and Commanders play the
this,
8th that
yes,
night, and then the Rams have a game.
this one will be at 3 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday. So it is after the Lions Commanders.
So I think that might play a factor too. I think Matthew Stafford finally wants another chance at playing the Lions, maybe wants to beat them. I think that's going to fuel this Rams offense to a victory. I think the rookies that the Rams have on defense have been playing amazing all season long. And I don't want to say they're going to contain Saquon Barkley. You can't contain Saquon Barkley. He's too good. But I do think that they'll be able to get pressure against Jalen Hurts. I do think they'll be able to limit Saquon Barkley on big plays. I think he will still have good plays here and there, but I don't think he's going to be running for 60-yard touchdowns like he has a couple times throughout this season. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Rams in this situation.
Definitely a tough game to predict. We'll go ahead and move through the conference championship week just pretty briefly because these are hypothetical matchups. I am going to stick with my Super Bowl matchup from the last video. Ravens and Lions, nothing changes there. I still have the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I feel like it's their year. I'm going to go ahead and take them to beat my Texans in the conference championship. I think our run ends there. If the Chiefs win, I still take the Ravens, and I would take the Lions over both the Eagles and the Rams. So this is going to stay my Super Bowl prediction until one of these teams gets upset.
Yep, same as you. My conference championship winners don't change. I'm picking the Ravens to beat the Chiefs, and I'm picking the Lions to beat the Rams. Lions are still going to be my Super Bowl champions. Um, like you said, like these are hypothetical matchups, and I think both of these games will be good games if this is what we get. Um, there's some storylines here. Obviously, you got the Matthew Stafford return to Detroit for what, the third time. Um, and then you have the Ravens playing the Chiefs, hoping to avenge their loss that they had last season in the playoffs. I think the Lions, the Ravens will come out on top, and I do think the Lions are the more complete team. I think they'll win a close game in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, now that you mention both of those things, I might have to think about changing my picks because I mean you obviously have the NFL script here fitting these storylines in. There's not really that much that's great about Texans and Ravens, I guess. I mean, the Texans lost that one last year in the divisional round. Eagles, Lions, 1 and 2 seed. That's pretty boring for the NFL. So
Hey,
you might be onto something here.
your storyline could be the Texans avenging their um blown lead to the Chiefs, what, 2, 3 seasons ago, whatever it was.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the most talented teams here. And yeah, Ravens Lions Super Bowl seems to be what it's going to come down to. We'll come back after the divisional round once we know these real conference championship matchups, and we'll update these predictions for you guys. With that being said, thank you for watching the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.